Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Cabinet, a variety podcast released every Wednesday up until August 14th. Today, I'm joined by one of my closest friends, Paul, and we've been going through a very similar situation the past couple of months, so... Welcome to The Cabinet, Paul. How are you doing today?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm, pretty good. I'm awake, which is a miracle.
Did you actually sleep?
I did.
Let's go. Oh my gosh.
I know, right? Did you?
I actually did. I've gotten...
Was it good sleep?
You want to hear something crazy? For anyone who's listening, we don't sleep. Me and Paul do not sleep. I have gotten 5 to 6 hours the past 3 days. Like, as in 6 hours, and 5 hours last night.
Oh, I thought, me, it's usually just 6 hours for 3 days, but...
Yeah. That's normally what happens to me, too. But, this time, I guess I was actually allowed to sleep recently. Don't know why. But...
Allowed. I like that.
If my brain allows me to. But today, guys, we're going to be talking about, honestly, something that, this is going to sound weird, but something I didn't expect to ever talk about on here. It's not that we can't have positive talks and, like, happy talks, but a lot of the time when we talk about mental health stuff, it's normally not great. It's normally how, like, sad people feel, and we kind of talk about that, but today, at least, our conversation is going to end in a more positive way. But to start off with it, last year, the both of us were not great. Like, I've said it multiple times on this podcast, I was basically dead to the world last year. I don't know how horrible you were last year on a scale of 1 to 10, but you aren't happy.
No, very not so. At the beginning of the year, definitely not. The end of 2022, going into 2023, I was... Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I was 0, so yeah.
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 And I know even, like, recently, like, the past couple months or so, before, obviously, this month, was still a bit tricky, because I know you mentioned it to me that you weren't, like, feeling the greatest, but then... You know, that one little thing happened, and it just kind of, like, it adds a little... Okay, so I guess I'm going to start off the conversation with this, because it's something that, I don't want to say bothers me, but a little bit when people say. So when I tell people that I met somebody who brings back a smile to my face that I haven't seen since I was probably a literal child. And I don't even know if then I would smile this much. Not in this sort of way. And I've never been the way that I am right now. In a good way. And yes, it's to thank to, like, one specific person. Like, other things have helped. Other things have added to this. But a lot of times, when you say something like that a person has made you so happy, everyone's like, well, don't make that be the one thing that is making you happy. You have to be happy for yourself. And I understand that. But at the same time, if somebody is making you happy, obviously you're going to be happier. Like, that's something... I don't know if people have said the same thing to you or not, but I've heard it like 5,000 times in this point, and it's just like kind of frustrating because... Yeah, I don't know. Has anyone said that to you yet?
Yet? Christ. I've had that for the majority of my bloody life.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, a person can't make you happy if you're not happy yourself. Something you do can't make you happy, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, but things can make you feel happy even if you're feeling like complete crap.
Yeah, exactly.
They're allowed to.
That's
you
what
shitting
I'm
on
saying.
that, it just makes you a dick.
That's what I'm, like, it does come off that way when people, like, you tell somebody something happy, and they're like, don't make them just be what's, like, don't make them... be the only reason that you're happy. And I'm like, but in this moment in time, like, yes, currently, obviously I have the job thing going for me at the moment, which has helped a lot, and I've met a lot of you guys, which has helped so much. But yes, the main thing that's making me happy is him. And that's just how it is. And it's not that I wasn't great before. Absolutely. But I was getting to a point where I was, obviously, better than last year. Like, it's really not that hard to get that much better than last year. But I got to a point where I was cutting people out that I didn't want there anymore, that was only causing negative things. And I was doing that for myself, and and then I started looking for jobs and doing all that. So I was already doing that. He's not, but he adds to that happiness by like
he's
much.
He's the addition you needed to kick it in the ass. Absolutely.
And like, I think that's totally fine. If somebody is making you happy enough where it's almost like it's helping you drive yourself forward, I think that's fine. I don't find that like dependent on somebody. I don't like dependent on your happiness. I don't think that's dependent on your happiness. You can't really help. I can't help the fact that he has made me smile more than anybody has in my entire life. Like, and I'm not going to stop it, you know? Just because you're saying, don't be dependent on someone else making you happy. Well, fuck it, dude. He's making me happy.
At that point, yeah, fuck what people think. If you're happy, you're happy. If you're sad, you're sad.
Yeah. And it's like, I get to a certain degree, don't be dependent on it, because that's what's gonna, like, because not once they're gone, but if they're ever gone, then you're gonna be even more broken because you weren't doing it for you as much. It was more for them kind of thing. So, like, I get that. But at the same time, I just don't think that should be people's first response to being, like, once you're in a dark place and then you're happy all of a sudden because you're with somebody. Like, what do you want from me? It's gonna make me happy.
Yeah, it's also the same people that never helped you when you were down either. It's the same fucking people that do that.
That's
true. I found anyway.
Yeah, no, I've had that for sure. It was really weird though, because as you know, past experiences have kind of tainted other things, like this current situation. Not that it's really like I'm not letting it taint it, but there are certain things because of the situation. I mean, I could just say it, but because it's online, and I had someone before that was also online. Because that was my first experience with that, and it was so shit, it has absolutely tainted this experience in a sort of way where it's like, there's certain things that if I say to like family members or something, with the last guy I was with, I told my whole family with the last one that he was different. And I amped it up a bit. I tried to convince them that he was different because that's the only way that they would think I'm not stupid, because it's online. So I definitely amped it up a bit. But how stupid that made me feel after, because obviously he was a piece of shit. Now it's like when I actually feel so different with this one, it is so beyond different. When I go to say it to my family members, it's just going to be like the same that I did before. And that's how they're going to see it. And that sucks, honestly.
Yeah.
But I know it's different.
I remember you saying something. I think you went to a party or a barbecue or something, and they could tell just by looking at you that you were happy.
Yeah.
But because the difference was night and day, even to them. Mm-hmm. So
that was a big thing when my aunt and this was before too. This was before me and him even said, "I like you too." This was just me liking him, and I was asked about him. And my aunt was like, "Oh my god, I have never seen you smile like that." And that was massive, because you all said it to me before, all my friends here. But the fact that my family member who has known me since I was born has said she has never seen me smile like that, that was when it clicked in my head of like, okay, this is different. It's not just what it was before. This is a whole different thing. And it's been now, the whole situation has been about 2 months. It's been like an entire month now of just like being together, and it is different. And I don't care that it sounds stupid because I've said it before, but it just is, you know?
It's not fucking stupid at all. Like,
I know, but the whole situation before made it feel stupid, you know?
Well, yeah, again, but that guy was a piece of shit, so...
Yeah.
And I know for a fact this one isn't. We've all had this conversation. We all knew about him before you fully fucking realized it.
Yeah, that is also true. Paul's been telling me since the beginning of like how much I like him, and I'm like, nah, trying to play it nice and cool. And yeah, well,
yeah, you suck at playing it cool.
Hey,
You
same
can't hide
goes
that
for-
shit from people that know you.
Normally I can. That's the thing. It's like, what has who am I? Who are you? Like,
Oh, I've been, as you know, the same questions have been popping up for me too.
I was gonna say, by the way, everyone, Paul is in the same situation, which is why we're having this conversation. The exact same situation of we both felt pretty shitty before, slowly got to a, not even like, for me, it wasn't fully content yet, but it was like, okay, like, we're alright, we're doing okay.
Like, not good, not sad, just smack in the middle.
Yeah,
just
literally.
Okay.
And then, out of nowhere, same month, me and Paul really found somebody somehow.
Yeah, just to clarify, it's not each other, okay?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Please clarify that. Jesus.
Yeah, it's not each other, holy fuck, no.
Yeah, I guess that makes it sound like that if I say it the same month. But no, different
Yes,
people.
but,
And,
yes.
yeah. And, like, for you, I guess, with your situation, because how long has it been, I don't know if this is too personal of a thing, but, like, how long has it been since you've really liked somebody like this? The chuckle.
Yeah, 8 years.
Wait, how long?
8 years.
8 years? God damn. But that says a lot,
Yeah.
though. That says so much.
As a sort of defense thing, after what happened back then, I physically stopped myself from letting people in, liking anyone, and beyond that. So it's, but
That's
yeah.
fair. That's crazy.
I have known this person for several years now. We've been good friends, talking every so often, and then it built into something, and then here I am, cheeseball, just like you.
Right? Paul is such a cheeseball right now. It is crazy. He was streaming, and the smile on his face every time a message showed up in that
here we
chat,
go.
I was like, oh my God.
It's
It's so nice
I
to
can't
see,
even.
though.
I know, it's weird. It's nice to see you fucking smile as well, and for it to be, an actual genuine smile, not something
Yeah.
forced just for stream. And that's how I feel. It's like I can't hold this back anymore, and I don't
Right?
want to.
That's what because I remember talking to you originally, so I was very not skeptical about the situation, but I was a little afraid at first. Again, unfortunately, it was tainted, but with the last one too, right? I made him wait to, like, properly make it official for 4 months. I made him wait because I doubted him, and I was unsure, and I wanted to wait. So I made him wait for, like, 4 months. And thank God I did, because 3 weeks later he fucking stopped speaking to me. So that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But with this one, dude, if he asked me the day he said he liked me, I would say yes. Like, that is not me. I am not, I don't want this to sound cringe, but I'm not a lover girl. You know, people say about lover boy. I'm not a lover girl. I love very strongly once I do, and I care really strongly once I do. Unfortunately, the bit of, like, how much I care about some people has unfortunately been sucked away from me after last year, but I'm trying to get that back. But when it comes to relationship stuff, it's I care a lot, and which is why I'm very afraid of falling into it, because I know how I get once I'm, like, in it. And I could have, that first day he said it to me, the first day he was like, I feel like we're on the same page here. And I'm like, yeah. And at the same time, I was like, ask me out right now. And
yeah, you were mega cheesing.
yeah,
at
I
the beginning.
was. But that's the thing,
Yeah.
is that's when you know that it's different. And I don't know if you have the same thing, because I don't know how similar we are in that kind of way. But that's how I knew it was so different, is because I am hard to crack. It takes, and it's been a problem in past relationships, is I take so long to trust, to crack, to get any wall slightly down, to be fully in it. It takes me so long because I know how I am once I'm in it. And the fact that this boy, before we even said I like you to each other, was already breaking down walls is unheard of for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've
Well,
had a similar thing, but that's how I know that it's different.
um, with this relationship, then, obviously she was already past, certain, we'll call them walls and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'd known her for so long, talked to her for so long, had feelings for her for so long.
Oh.
So it's a case of she was already like most of the way in, but the last few, it's we're still obviously we're still building on our
Yeah.
relationship and whatnot. We're getting to know each other properly and everything else. And she is pushing through.
Yeah. How
With
fast she
somewhat
pushing
relative
through? Is she
ease.
just bulldozing them down?
Oh, she might as well have just blown them up with a fucking missile.
That's how I feel. Do you have like... Okay, maybe, I don't know if it's just me, but I have all these small walls that are set up in front of me. And then there's this big, thick wall at the end that you have to like chisel away to get it down. I don't know if you have that same thing or not, but he's been at that wall for a long time now.
I have a lot of little walls. Like, there's obviously varying degrees of friendship, which obviously we've
That's
already
true.
gone through. So all those we're already through. It's the letting you in my head type of deal and letting you in my heart. Those are my big two.
Letting someone in like that is scary.
You're not fucking wrong. There we go. Made this fucking thing for you. But yeah, it's nuts. And like I say, it's been 8 years, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm completely out of the loop dating wise. So
That's fair.
it's an old friendship, but it's a new relationship, and I'm trying not to fuck up both.
Yeah. That's a scary thing too, with like trauma sort of stuff, of just being afraid of messing it up, because obviously we just talked before about that's how like you've been feeling and stuff, and I told you previously that I am horrified of messing it up, and it's not because like this time around I'm more scared of messing it up than I've ever been, and not because I wanted to lose relationships before, when I mean, realistically I should have wanted to, but I hold on for dear life. But with him, I because I feel so different about it, if I'm the one that messes it up, that would destroy me. And because of how people were to me before, things that they said to me before, I'm afraid of doing that same thing. And even though I understand there are things that weren't my fault, that people told me was my fault, that I'm taking, unfortunately, into this of like, I get afraid of things being my fault. I'm just... because it's so different. If I lose that and it's my fault in any way, I just don't know what I would do.
I'm
I
very
don't
much
know.
the same. I'm very much the same. Obviously, yeah, before we started the recording, I did essentially say what happened today. So,
you can
do you know
talk
what?
about it if you want.
Yeah, I'll go into it. I'll let people get in my fucking head. Why not?
Hell yeah.
Basically, I had a massive depression spike like this morning, and it fucked me over. I was thinking about how I've fucked up a lot of things in life, in general, and then my thoughts came to her, and the fact that if I fucked up enough, I would lose her, and that just sent me. It literally just bottomed me out. And I, messaged her as I usually do. I just said, might not hear from me. Might be a little quiet today. She's like, why? And I explained it, and then we hopped in a call, and for 2 hours we talked, and by the end of that 2 hours, she not only cancelled out all the fucking depressive shit, but she made me realise, this is going to sound cheesy as fuck,
Yes.
how much I care about her and how much I love her. So from a massive negative came a fucking bigger positive. It just, I don't know, and I've never, and the happiness that came over me at that point, it was nuts.
Is it weird that just made me emotional that you just said that? I literally teared up as you were talking.
I did it while I was saying it, okay? Jeez.
Dude, you were because like because I also get it so much too of like,
yeah,
obviously we're two different people, two different situations, but we're still two people who weren't happy, and we were just kind of like there, like we were just living, and like life was just life, like that was it. There was nothing to it. And the fact that like in the same month, it's just ew, it literally made me tear up.
I'm sorry, okay?
Yeah, for anyone else who's listening, I'm not saying ew because of anything bad. I'm just not that person of like, I do not like people knowing that I am sad and emotional. I don't like people to ever see or hear me cry. Like, it just weirds me out. That's why I said ew, just to clarify that. But I get that so much because I remember I texted you after the first kind of situation where I was like panicking. I was like, I can't remember what it was about, but I was panicking a lot about the relationship with this person, and I got really overwhelmed and I got really anxious, and like Paul originally was trying to calm me down, and he was like, you tell him. And I was like, no, but what if he thinks I'm too much? Because that was previous big issues in relationships before. I was always too much in some sort of way, and I was petrified of ever being that again. And I was never allowed to have emotions, literally ever. I was always dramatic, I always brought stuff up, I was always this, I was always that, when really it was in my head you should be able to say anything and then just move past it. And that's because I think people should know how you feel. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was never allowed to do that, and Paul was like, just tell him, he's gonna understand. And now Paul barely knew him at this point too, but he was like, he's gonna understand you. I was like, okay, I'll do it.
It was me, Mac, and a few others that obviously you let in and told about this guy.
Yeah.
That we all had the same gut feeling about him.
Mm-hmm. And that means a lot.
Yeah, and we didn't get any red flags from him at all, and everything that you told us, obviously we'd all watched him on stream and everything, how he interacted with you, us, everyone. No one got a red flag. So that's why I said, tell him.
Yeah.
For the love of fuck, tell him.
And it convinced me to, and I did, and I have never been talked to so gently, I guess is the word, and so comfortable, where it was the things I would say to people, like when they are sad and they're like, oh, I just don't want to be too much, and I'm like, dude, it happens, stuff happens. And that's exactly what he was saying to me, because I was like, I am so afraid of like pushing you away by being emotional sometimes. And he was like, but I'm gonna have those days too. And I'm like, him saying that meant so much, because never been told that. And it's what I've said to other people, but no one's ever said it to me. And it was just a very safe feeling of, I can actually talk for once. And the way he talked me through it too, especially if I ever say something about myself that, like, if I feel like right now in my life, I kind of feel a little bit useless. It's a little bit better now that I'm like getting a job, but I felt very useless for a while of like, I am just sitting in my room. Yes, I'm editing and working on some content stuff. I'm not streaming as much though, and I don't have an actual job, and I'm not getting outside enough, and I have no friends IRL except one person. So that's how I felt. And whenever I talk like that, he sits there and he's just, no matter how small of a thing, sits there and tells me everything that I've done in my life and everything that I am as a person and how much that is what matters. And I'm like, dude, who talks like that? Like,
and okay, you guys aren't using the word, I know that, but someone that talks like that is a person who loves you. I know you're not saying the word, but it's true. Okay, shut the fuck up before you say anything.
I'm not responding to anything.
I can hear you. I can hear you thinking, okay?
I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh god, how's he gonna react when he hears you say that? But,
he's gonna have the biggest smile on his fucking face because he'll know it's true.
Anyways. So, yeah, I've never had a safe space before, and it's absolutely what it feels like, and that is, like, this, I feel like this brings into, like, a conversation of, it is weird. It sounds weird to say weird, but it is weird to feel that. To feel like, I don't want to say it feels weird to feel happy, but kind of.
Yeah. You saw my fucking tweets.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying.
It's because we're not used to it, so of course it's gonna be fucking weird. We've had years from fucking hell, and, you know, where, ooh, what's this? New emotion. No, it's just one that's been locked up for quite a fucking while.
Right?
So...
It's just like, it's more of, it's weird to, yes, obviously it's weird to feel happy because it's been a hot minute, but it's also weird that, like, that I met somebody where I can feel like this around, because after a certain point, I don't want to say I gave up, but I was a little bit. I was starting to give up, and I expected to be single this whole year. I almost, like, wanted to be as well, because I only wanted to because I was afraid to ever do it again. And
I get that.
That's kind of where I was at, of, like, I told myself, every time I say this, it makes me really sad, but I told myself, after my 3-year relationship, I am not that person. I am never, ever, ever gonna be that girl that people make time for. I'm never gonna be the girl that someone just, like, wants and chases after. And if I go to leave or something, they'll be there and being like, no, let's get through this. I just told myself I'm not that person, and convinced myself that, which is why I stayed with that one guy for longer, because that's what I convinced myself, that I'm just never gonna be that person. And then that's why the guy I was with after that changed it. I, like, felt like, oh, because he wanted, like, you were there. I don't know how much you know, but he wanted me in the beginning. Like, so
Yeah,
he was just like, I want you. And I fell for it because I was finally wanted after feeling like it was something I could never have. And then obviously he showed me that I wasn't wanted nor cared about in the literal slightest. And
yeah,
it got me to a point of, like, okay, you're really not that person. And I convinced myself to be okay with that. I wasn't, but I convinced myself, you have to be okay with this because this is how it's going to be for you. And that's where I was before
you should
this.
never be okay with that, regardless, you know, if it's a relationship, life in general, and stuff like that. But yeah, never. No, just never.
Well, because I've always been told, like, even, like, I go to, like, I've been to, like, therapists multiple times. None of them stuck, but I would talk about a bunch of stuff, and they would say, like, look, sometimes people just care more than others, and you're that person. And I'm like, but why can't I get at least 50% of it back? Not even at least 20% back. Like, what? And they would just say, it's just how much you care. And it's just like, it was so frustrating, because I told you this recently as well. I can't, because you actually said that I can't control it. You were like, it's just how you were made, that I can't.
It's how you're wired.
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah, it's wired. No matter how much I want to care less, sometimes I can't. And it is frustrating because of how I felt in the past, with people literally couldn't care less. I mean, it's hard to explain because a lot of my life, relationship-wise, was with one person, and he literally did not care. Did not care in the slightest. And that, for 3.5 years, that kind of messes you up a bit, especially when you, towards the end, for 6 months, this was, I said to him in the beginning, I am not doing good, and I need you to need me or want me for about 5, like, just for a little bit. I want it to feel like you want me. And I even said to him, you could cook me a burger and put on a movie, and I'd call that effort. Like, I just need something because I am dying here.
Yeah,
5 months go by.
Small that would mean something.
Exactly. Like, I just wanted him to care for a second. And 5 months go by, and the reason we broke up is he literally was like, I can't do it. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy, man. Because all this that I do, and he couldn't care. It sounds crazy, but that's what happened, is he had to end up being the one that broke up with me, even though it was technically, I'm kind of the one that broke up, because I'm the one that said it. And then he just couldn't do it, because I told him, like, I will leave at some point, and then he was just like, yeah, I can't do it, and I'm out. And thank God I got over that boy in a day.
Yeah, I mean,
That
I know
says a
how
lot.
long it took you to get over the third one, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I always say the reason why it took so long to get over him was because I was holding on to that want, that he actually wanted me. And I was holding on to, like, just hoping that he would want me again, because I wanted that feeling back that somebody wanted me. And that's why at some point I let it go, because he said to me, every time I turn back, you're always there. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not there. And after he said that, I was like, bye. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I was there the day that switch fucking happened, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, hello, it's happened.
You were like, finally.
Yeah, it's about fucking time.
Dude. It was just, I was really holding on to the fact that he was the first guy to ever want me. Even though he didn't because of what he did. But he wanted me in the beginning. And I wanted to be wanted again. And I wanted to feel like that again. And I was holding on to it. But as soon as he made it seem like I was waiting there for him, it's like, you treated me so horribly, dude. Even after you came back, I was so nice to you. You still treated me horribly. And now you're thinking I'm just sitting there waiting for you kicking my legs? I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I was gone. And I don't know about what past experiences have really, like, done to you to, like, affect how you are now. But,
Oh, we don't have time for that deep dive.
Oh no. But, like, do you see? That's kind of frightening. But do you, with how you are now, do you see a bunch of, like, past trauma responses coming forward at all?
I see some some defensive stuff has come up. You know, the same with you, like the whole you protecting yourself type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I do have the same shit that comes up that I have to fight through in order to let her in.
Yeah.
And I'll admit it's a struggle to fucking fight yourself like that, but I'm kind of winning that battle. So yeah. And she is there every step of the way with me. I am the same with her, you know. It's what makes a relationship. You both work at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it needs to be, and that's what we're doing.
Exactly. That's a bit. I remember always seeing videos of you can't work on yourself while in a relationship, and I was like, what? Yes, you can. Absolutely. Like, if they are bringing a positive to you and they are making, like, you can easily be with someone and be a better person because of it. Like, I lost parts of me after last year, and I've told you this because I feel so terrible about it that, like, I don't want this to sound terrible, but the care that I had in general, friends, family, everything, has kind of died off. I know it's still there, I feel it still, but the effort that I used to put in, people killed it. It was 10 plus years of, in even more than that too, 10 plus years just with my friends, but like with family stuff too, doing so much, and it was never enough. It was always taken for granted. And then as soon as you needed somebody, no one was there for you and just shit on you for it. Like, that broke me after last year. It was just one after the other, and I got so tired that I lost it. And
yeah,
it's hard to get back on my own because, like, this is kind of hard to explain because people are, again, I don't want it to sound like a dependent on people, but I need people to know that I can care again, you know? Like, how else would I know that I can care for these people if I don't have anybody to care for? I don't know if that makes sense, but
It does. Like, obviously, the people that know you can tell the difference with how you were and how you are.
Yeah.
And it's to like people that don't know you, it'll seem like something so significantly small.
Mm-hmm.
But to those of the obviously your friends, we've seen how far you have come, and it's a big fucking thing. It's huge, in fact.
Dude, it
Like,
is. It's hard though. Cause
yeah, I mean, it is. It's an unfortunate life experience that you've had to have, but you've had it,
yeah.
and you're working through it, and you're coming out on the other side, and that's what matters.
And it takes a hot minute too. That's something that like it bugs me of where I want to rush it because I want to be at a certain point where I can be that way again and I can have parts of me that I lost back again. Of course I want to rush it because I want it back. But unfortunately, you can't. And
Nope.
it kind of kills me sometimes of just I want it back so bad. And I'm trying to get it back, but it's not that easy. I guess because of how much it was and how long the years were of that happening and everything just collapsing last year and everything kicking in and hitting, like, it really killed me that now I'm at a point where I know I care, but I can't find that care in me to, like, put the effort in for some reason. And I don't understand why. I know why I don't feel it as much anymore, but I don't understand why I can't just do it. And that bugs me because I know I care.
Yeah, that's your brain still in that sort of defensive mode, I think. Like, you don't want to care just in case it bites you in the ass again. But at the same time, you're working towards it still. And yeah, it's going to be baby steps. Yeah, hell, it might even take a year, 2 years, however many years, however long. But you will get there with the right people.
I know. That's what's... It literally feels like this year is me rebuilding me. Like, really, it does. Like, last year I collapsed. I was... You were there for the worst times. I was all the way down there, and it was basically you and Mackenzie holding my hand and being like, do not fall. Not.
We fucking handcuffed you to ourselves and just decided, if you're going down, you're taking us with you, but we didn't fucking let you.
Yeah, that's literally what happened, and I think about that all the time though too, because I'm like, man, I really would have let myself fall for sure. But now it's this year is like I have to rebuild myself as a person. I always say the foundation collapsed and I hit the bottom. And now it's like now I actually have to make like a solid foundation because there was no solid foundation before. What I kept doing is the foundation got a little rocky and then I just kept building up and up and everything was slowly cracking and breaking. And like this time everything's got to be built properly. It's something I didn't do before because you would just push situations aside. And that's why things were rocky. I didn't have a solid foundation. I had a rocky foundation. And now I'm restarting. But that's hard.
But you're restarting the right way, though. That's the thing. You're not rushing through stuff. You're taking your time, and that's the good thing.
Yeah, I'm actually letting feelings feel for once, because there are people who are letting me let my feelings feel, and it is weird. It is very weird.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, well, I guess you have a similar situation then, huh?
Yeah, I'm also the one that... Okay, how the hell do I explain it? Like, there's so much that I will show, but there's much more that I will feel.
That's true.
Like, I will show the top part that, everybody sees. Like, when you see a smile, or when I'm pissed off, or stuff like that. But it's the stuff that's hidden. It's the iceberg principle type of thing. You see the small stuff on the top, but not the big thing under the water.
I feel that. But the thing is I didn't even let people see the top of it too. I shut everything away. Like, I would mention it if something happened. Like, if something really big. Sometimes I would mention it. Well, I wouldn't talk about it. I would just say it and then be like, "Oh, that's how it happened. All right, cool. Continue." and then just move on from it. And I was in my room by myself, and that's where you kind of just let everything happen. But now there are times where people actually want to check up on me and actually want to talk to me, and I'm like, what is this? What's going on?
I remember pretty much checking on you like at least daily, like a couple times.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, she ain't doing so good. Just keep at her, make sure she knows that, you know, someone's around.
Oh, so. Well, you had to deal with, like, if you were to message me any day for months and you'd be like, how are you doing today? It would always be shit. Like, that was my response every single time.
But then we'd talk about it and you'd let that out.
Yeah. And a big thing I feel is, I don't know if it's the same. I guess it could be different because I know I don't want to, like, stereotype, but for guys, when it comes to feelings, I've always heard that, like, it's the whole guys can't have feelings, and that's how they were raised and brought up, is don't have feelings. And for me, I was kind of like, I want to say the guy, but that's kind of how my dad engraved it into my brain rather than my brother's. And I was also the girl though too, so I was also dramatic. So if I felt anything, it was dramatic, and everything I do was dramatic, and that's all I've ever heard.
Everything you felt was over the top and unneeded, whereas it was just you being you. But can confirm the whole, well, guys can have feelings, we just don't particularly show them, because it's that is the stereotype. Yeah,
it's shown as like, you're weak if you have feelings.
Yeah, it's just, I dealt with that bullshit for a good majority of my life, and it came to a point where I said, you know what, fuck you, I feel what I feel, if you don't like it, fuck off.
And that's how it should be, simple. Too, because, like, I don't understand that. Because to me, right, if a guy doesn't show feelings, God, it's the most frustrating thing on the entire planet. Because you want them to. You need to, like, be able to, like, talk about it and stuff. And it's frustrating. But they always keep it in.
Yeah, all the time, it also makes people harder to read, too. Because I know some women and other people that also hide feelings. And quite frankly, unless they physically say how they're feeling, on their face, you can't read shit.
That's true.
It's like the resting bitch face syndrome, basically. It could go either way.
That's true. Yeah, that's always like, because I've always been able to tell with people how they feel a lot of times. Like, sometimes I don't think about it, so I'm not, like, really paying attention to it. But there are times, like, you can just tell, and especially when it gets to a certain point. If you hit a limit with people, a lot of the time you know. For me, which I've told you before, if I go completely silent in the middle of us playing a game or something, I'm either insanely angry or I'm gonna cry. And it's normally not a good sign if I go silent. There are times too, like, it doesn't always mean that somebody's made me sad or somebody's made me mad. The brain is a bitch. So sometimes...
Can confirm. Like,
sometimes I feel like I'm talking too much, or I feel like I'm being too weird, and I'll just go silent. Like, this happened recently. I think I talked to you about it, but we were in VC with a bunch of people, and some people were playing one game, and then me and you were playing a different game. We were playing Fortnite, obviously, and I felt like I would, because when I play Fortnite with Paul, we talk a lot, and I say a bunch of weird things. And I kind of, at some point, got embarrassed, and then I said something about, like, I'm just not going to talk the rest of the time. And Paul said, that's not, like, Paul said something like, no, you won't. And then one of our other friends were like, you couldn't if you tried. And then our other friend also said something like, yeah, right, you wouldn't be able to do that. And I heard 3 people say it at once, and I was in VC with the guy that I was with. And he wasn't really paying attention, but he was there. And in my head, it just went, oh no, he and everybody else is going to think that you don't shut the fuck up and you were so annoying, so stop talking. And I shut down. And I started panicking hardcore. And I haven't had a panic attack like that in months, but I was so afraid, I guess, of being too much. I was so afraid of him seeing me like, it's one thing, like, it would have made me feel bad either way. Everybody saying it at once, because I get a little self-conscious when I talk a lot. Or if I'm being too weird. I get really self-conscious about those things. The fact that he was in there, though, and he could view me in a way that everybody else viewed me, and that he could see me as being too much, I panicked. And I messaged Paul, and I was like, I had to get off. And I told him, like, dude, I'm freaking out right now. Because my
then we
panic
messaged
attacks
for
were
quite
painful.
a while, and then they were dicks to do that, and like I had to calm your ass down.
Yeah.
You're not too much. Plus, you letting that side of yourself out, the shit that we do say on Fortnite. Because I like, you said it. You like that, like mostly around me when we play Fortnite, which it's weird because I'm the same with you. We can just fucking say shit and it means fuck all because it's just funny.
Yeah, it's just stupid humor.
Oh yeah, I mean I've got clips and TikToks to fucking prove it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that stupid humor, and also out of context, we probably sound so dumb. Like if people can't see what we're doing, we probably sound really weird. And it was just the fact that all three people said that, like, if I wanted to stop talking, I couldn't. And I was like, damn, I'm not going to talk now. And then everyone got mad at me for not talking. And I was like, well, yeah, it's not, to me, I don't mind if people talk too much. But it's because I've been told forever that I'm annoying and I talk too much that it just flicked a switch in my head. And I was like, okay, shutdown time.
Yeah, just those people wouldn't know annoying. Well, they would know annoying if it bit them on the ass, but you were not being annoying. You were just being fucking yourself. You being your goofy ass self, and it's what everybody fucking likes about you when you do let loose.
I know, it's just scary of, like, okay, it's different. I'm sure you know. It's very different letting somebody, when you like somebody that much, and you have to let them in, because, like, for me, that person is the only person that is going to get all of me. Everything about me, every little last detail, they are going to get all of it. Because it's somebody I potentially want to end up with. So you can't hide yourself for that long. So they're going to get every part of you. And the raw version of you. And it is very scary to think that. Because I've been judged so much for everything that I've ever done and said. So when I realized that we were like that with him in there, and then everyone made the comment, it just triggered something of like, what if this is too much and he doesn't like it? And obviously, as you know, he loves it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he brings that side out of you as well. And yeah. As for the being judged part, I'm with you on that one. People have judged me for the most part of my entire life, as you know, always. And with me, I'm different in the showing people. Like, I will show people so much of everything, but there's a cutoff, and then obviously the person who I'm with gets all of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll show you guys, I don't fucking know, depending on how close I am to you. Like, you may get 30%. And then, if you try and imagine the rest of the 70% on top of that, good fucking luck. But, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of it varies with my friends. Like, everybody gets different versions of me in a way. And it's not because I'm, like, faking anything. It's just people bring out different versions of you, and people make you feel different kinds of, like, comfortability. So, it's always different. But that's why letting somebody in relationship wise is different for me, because at some point, if you hope to end up with them, you have to let all of you out. Like, you have to. And
yeah, it's all or nothing, basically.
But that's why it's so scary, is because that's all of you. And you're so, I don't know if you have it too, of just you're afraid of doing one thing that they maybe don't like, don't agree with or something, and then all of a sudden they don't like you anymore. Like, that's just kind of how it makes me feel.
Yeah, it makes you feel like vulnerable, but
Yeah.
it's a bitch feeling, but at the same time, it's a relationship, so you've got to work at it anyway. So it's just one of those things that, yeah, this is what I'm like. It's fine if you don't like it, but it's still a part of who I am.
Yeah.
And they have to accept you for it. Otherwise, it's not, what you're building that relationship on if they don't accept you for who you are.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing that, that's the thing I always say when it comes to relationship stuff. Something that I really didn't like in a past relationship that was said to me was on days that I was sad, or on days where we had a disagreement or argument, he would tell me that he loved me less on those days. Like, there was a time where he was like today or the other day, I loved you like 60%. And I'm like, what? I don't love somebody less because we have a disagreement and because they're sad. Because that's not them. Like, I love them, that person as a whole, not the bad day that they're having and the disagreement we have. That doesn't change it. It might make me more annoyed at them, but it's never gonna change the whole picture.
Yeah, you like them for them, not that certain aspect of their personality.
Right, like that's like a specific situation. Imagine it's like I understand you could be like, oh, you annoyed me this day, so you feel like you like them less, but you don't change the actual overall feeling about them. Like, that was so strange of a concept to me that always rubbed me the wrong way. And I think a big thing too with relationship stuff that I've noticed, because I had my first little disagreement / it wasn't an argument because nobody argued, but it was like we were not understanding each other. I mean, the only reason I wasn't understanding is because I was telling him how I felt about something and he was taking it a different kind of way, and it was frustrating me for him to take it that way because it's not how it was meant. So in that sort of way, we were just not on the same page. And it turned into a bit of a disagreement sort of thing. But a huge thing is that we tried talking about it, and then at some point I was like, okay, we're not getting each other. Like, it is not happening. What do we do in this situation? And we both kind of just, took a second and then tried to understand each other in a different kind of way. Because I feel like in the moment when you hear certain things, it's going to make you frustrated to hear specific little things.
Yeah, especially if you don't fully understand them.
Yeah, especially, you're not agreeing and they're not understanding, so obviously it's going to annoy you. So sometimes you need to, take a second. But still, the way you get through things is so important. It's another thing I've never had, because I've told you, I tell people how I feel, and it's like, oh, you're just being dramatic. Oh my God, you're just trying to make me feel bad. Oh, why do you always have to be like this? Why do you have to complain? All that, whatever. Instead of hey, something you've done has made me feel a certain way, and I want to tell you about it so you know that it made me feel like this. That's why you talk.
Yeah, and you can work on it.
Exactly. But that's so important. You need that. You need that. And it was so nice to have, even obviously you're going to have disagreements. And people are going to have little flaws. They're going to do things you don't like. Totally normal. But it's not changing anything. And that was something I was trying to tell him too, because then at some point, he felt bad. And I'm like, I understand that you feel bad because it feels like, he's messed up or something. But so what? So what? You haven't done the worst thing in the entire world to me. You haven't done anything horrible. It was just something that I didn't like. And we talked about it, and you understood it at some point. You realized what you did. That's it. That's all you can do.
And that's healthy. That's, you talk through it, and everything else you work through it.
Yeah.
If you ignore it, that's where shit hits the fan, and it'll just get worse from that point onwards.
Yeah. That's a big thing I always said too, of just someone blowing up because they can't talk about things.
Yeah, as friends, obviously we've had arguments and shit, and we're still here somehow.
Yeah.
But we've we don't see eye to eye on everything, but we're understanding that we've both got our own opinions on things, and we've talked through shit. We've worked through shit. I would call it a pretty fucking solid friendship at this point.
Yeah, it's literally just like, we're not going to agree on everything. We're not going to understand each other in every single way, in every little aspect. Like, it's just, that's not how it's going to work. But
yeah,
the biggest thing, like when people say the biggest thing is communication, honestly, I feel like the biggest thing is understanding. Because even if you don't fully understand maybe why somebody specifically feels like that, if you are sitting there and just listening and trying to understand and trying to work, that's what matters.
That kind of does come into the communication side of it, because yeah, obviously you can talk and listen and shit like that, but if you don't communicate the fact that there's something that you don't understand, then you can talk through it and work through it.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
It kind of still falls under communication. A friendship for me, trust. If I don't trust you, you ain't getting in.
Trust is this spooky thing.
It's the fucking, it's a 5-letter word, but it's one of the biggest fucking things there is.
Yeah, especially when it's been broken your whole life.
Yeah.
I've never, ever been able to have it. Which is why when I get into things, sometimes I gotta tell people, like, look, don't get mad at me, but it's gonna take me a hot second. I cannot control it. It's just how it is. And I hope that people can, like, for me, I'm at a point now with the person that I'm with where I can trust that he's not going to, like, cheat or something, and he's not going to flirt with people and go around saying a bunch of this and that. Like, that's part of trust, obviously, but something that's always the hardest to get past, and it's a trauma response. It's from past stuff, and when something happens repetitively, at some point you're going to think it's going to happen again. And for me, the part that I can't ever seem to go past is that I'm not going to get left. And I know that's a big thing of people, like, sometimes you have to accept people leaving. True. But how I mean it is that one day, it's like, I'm trying to figure out a way to explain it. But if he didn't tell me how he was feeling for months, and then just blew up at me and left me, because I've had that happen, that's breaking my trust in a way, because you haven't talked to me about it. You've been hiding it from me, and then get mad at me for not knowing it after you haven't told me it. That's kind of where, like, I want to trust that you're meaning what you say. I want to trust that when you tell me that you are happy and you are good and everything, so I want to believe that. And if I can't believe that, that's still breaking my trust, obviously. Like, that's the part that I struggle with, is getting to that point of believing what people are saying. And you know that too, because it's also friendship-wise too. Like, I have to believe you guys that when you say these things, you actually mean them. But it's hard to believe it when everyone else, 99% of the people in my life, have been garbage.
I get that. I mean, you know me well enough now that if I say something, I fucking mean it.
Yeah. But it's hard to change your brain.
Yeah, well, I fucking feel you on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I say something, I truly mean it. I can say certain things as a joke, and I hope it sometimes comes across as a joke. Well, sometimes it doesn't, because I'm a sarcastic son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know me well enough to know when I'm joking and when I'm serious.
Yeah. It is hard, though, sometimes with that sort of thing, but overall, it's really when it's been your whole life so far to make you feel a certain way, to then change your brain to think another way, that is so hard. That really is.
Like we said earlier about, something completely different, It's how you've been wired. It's how life has shit on you, and your brain has said, "Yeah, do you know what? We'll deal with this like this."
Yeah. It's like, you know what? It's happened before like this, so what? Like, obviously it's gonna happen like that again. Especially when it's so repetitive. And,
you expect it.
Yeah. It's hard to not expect it, though. Like, that is such... I've tried so hard to not expect certain things. Like, I am bad with expectations because I do not like to get my hopes up. I tell myself, things aren't gonna happen like this. This won't happen. Don't get excited for it, which can be seen as a negative thing. I probably recommend don't doing that. But for me, I need to do it for myself. Like, okay, so for example, person I'm seeing is supposed to come here in the next month or so. I'm telling myself it's not gonna happen. Because just in case it doesn't happen, at least I didn't get all excited for it, and it would let me down so much more. I know it's not a way to live. I know it's a bad thing to do, but I don't want to get excited over something just to be let down because I'm so used to being let down. That's why I do that.
the same thing.
Do you?
Yeah, basically, expect nothing, or expect nothing or expect the worst. That way, you can always be pleasantly surprised.
That's what I always say. And guys, whoever's listening, please, I don't recommend it. Like, I don't...
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It is not a way to live.
It's not a way to live. Don't listen to us. We're stupid. But, like, yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for throwing me under that bus.
Well, look. I just don't want people to think that that's how they should... Don't think like that. It's not a way... I know it makes sense. Like, I feel like we just said that and people might be like, huh, that's a good way to look at it. No.
No. It's just no.
No, it's not.
Oh.
But, hey, on that note, though, I feel like we covered a lot more than I expected us to, I'll be honest.
Yeah, we kind of branched out and...
It worked, though. I mean, like, we were just kind of going for a bit. I do think, our topic that we were talking about today was a good one just because it's something I haven't brought up yet properly, especially on the podcast. I don't think I've talked much about it. I think it was good to kind of just like get those things out there because it's a different kind of mental health in a way. It's not just negatives. We're like looking at it in a positive, which
and
it's always good to have.
How we were, how we are, boom.
Yeah. So, just for anyone who's listening, clearly, the main message of this whole thing, why I wanted to record this as well, is stuff takes forever to heal, to get over, but that is okay. And stuff is going to affect you still from past stuff, and that is okay. It's just about people who are there to actually understand it and stick around. And I know sometimes it feels like they don't exist, but they actually do. Because I really didn't think that they did until I met everybody I've met. And it is honestly the greatest thing and has brought a lot more happiness once I got rid of those people. And another thing too, if people are making you feel a certain way in a negative kind of way, even if it hurts, get rid of it. You will feel so much better. Because now you're not constantly having that negative thing around your head. So just stress that enough, because that's what really helped me get to this point, is getting rid of those people.
I can vouch for that one too.
Yeah. I feel like that's a big, like, main point of what we've been talking about too, is just, you have to accept the good things to let the bad things go away. And you can work on yourself while being with people. It is possible. Again, all about understanding and communication. And yeah, just gotta stress those couple points, you know.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining me, Paul.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been
Paul's first episode. And I don't know why we didn't do one last season.
You were fully booked by the time you actually got around to ask me. That's why.
That's true. By the time we got closer, I was already like done with the podcast too. So
yeah,
that's fair. But glad to have you on, and hope to see you again next season.
Damn! Imagine how far we'd both come.
That's what I'm saying. Imagine an update in like a year.
Yeah.
Probably be less than a year by the time I do season 3, but
Fucking
that's
scary.
yeah. Also, by the way, everybody, and this is a random fact: we end this podcast on August 14th, which is actually Paul's birthday. Fun fact.
Yeah. You end on my birthday. You started on Pengu's birthday.
I did, yeah. It was
So-
not planned. It's just how the times worked out. But
Yeah.
anyways, again, thank you for joining, and anyone who got to the end of this episode, thank you so much for listening. I hope you either learned some things or maybe related, because I know it's nice to relate sometimes, and I hope that some people can relate to the happy part of it at least. That's the hopes and dreams, but if not, stuff will get better. Things will look up at some point. You just have to get to a certain point in your life to get there, and it's different for everybody. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. And yeah, on that note, as always, I will catch you guys next week.